Good morning, everyone. Let us begin with Bacon's essay of studies. Yesterday, we had ended on a note where I talked about Bacon's style, especially aphorism, conciseness, and brevity, for which Bacon's essays are famous. Now, I begin with a few quotes from his essay of studies, which are very good examples of his aphoristic style, and those essays go well into the academia as famous sayings or proverbs also. Studies serve for delight, for ornament, and for ability. To spend too much time in studies is sloth. To use them too much for ornaments is affectation, and to make judgment wholly by their rules is the humor of a scholar. Next sentence: crafty men contemn studies, simple men admire them, and wise men use them. Another example: some books are to be chewed, some books are to be tasted, others to be swallowed, and some few to be chewed and digested. This is a sentence which is very famous, and Bacon has drawn analogy from the food and drawing analogy from food, the register of food. He has very well described how to read books. Another sentence that is famous is reading maketh a full man, conference a ready man, and writing an exact man. Now, after these few illustrations, I would like to elaborate upon Bacon's style. Bacon begins his essays by arguing that the young soul learns a lot when he travels around the world in the same manner as a reader travels in the world of books. And that is why he says studies serve for delight, for ornament, and for ability. Bacon gives an account of the three chief uses of the studies in this sentence. And the first use that he describes is that studies serve for delight. And this delight may come in the form of solitude or in leisure after retirement from the busy activities. Secondly, these serve for ornament in communication, conversation, and discourse. But Bacon warns us also not to use too much of the studies for ornamental purposes, because ornamental purposes can sometimes distract the listener from the meaning also. Next to it, a person who is well read can talk more attractively than an uneducated person. The third use of studies is that they help in judgment and disposition of business. That is, a person who is well read can judge properly and take his decisions in a more precise manner. An expert man can judge matters one by one when they come face to him, and he executes them according to his experience. So, studies add to our experiences, they enrich us, and they enable us to judge in a very proper manner. However, this is not the case with an educated man always. He can sometimes give counsels also in the situations according to his knowledge, and thus learned men are best at marshalling of affairs. Now, the word marshalling comes from military, where it is here conveying the sense of disciplining. We should not simply study a lot and put them irrationally in use for the purposes for which we study. Rather, we are expected to adopt our studied material in a disciplined manner in the day to day practical uh, life. And that is why Bacon has been called a pragmatic essayist. Studies perfect nature further, they are perfected by experience. Bacon compares natural abilities of a man to a natural plant that needs pruning, and this pruning comes through studying. Studies have a vast scope. It is icing on the cake if experience is also added with them. But again, Bacon gives us warning to be very, very practical and selective while adopting those studies in our day to day life. Bacon has said that crafty men condemn studies, simple men admire them, and wise men use them. The man who works hard hate or condemn studies. However, the person who has simple wits admires them. Moreover, people who are wise use them practically. Studies do not teach their own use. It is the wisdom of a person that teaches him their usage. So, again, wisdom or pragmatism is the key motto in each and every of his Bacon's essays that we'll see when we will be studying of travel next to this one. The well read person should not read to contradict and confute others. He should not believe and read wholly on words. That is, we shouldn't be blind to take for granted whatever is written in the book. We should enrich our reading with the help of our experiences, day to day life. And that is why believing in what is written in the book is not advised by Bacon. The writer further supports his argument with this statement, which I already quoted, that some books are to be tasted, others to be swallowed, and some few to be chewed and digested. This analogy, which has been drawn from the world of food, is making Bacon's thoughts very condensed, and we can expand these ideas by talking in terms of the metaphor of food. Just as we taste some of the foods, and then if we like, we continue eating them, otherwise we do not use them or eat them. Then some foods are to be swallowed whether we like the taste or not, just as the bitter pills, but we have to swallow them because they are good for our health, or they are required for our health. And next he says chewed and digested. That means some of the foods are to be chewed and digested properly because we like them, we like the taste also, and we know their utility also, and we relish them. Same is the case with the books. We read some of the books properly, but some of the books we only taste and we try to identify and see if they are useful. We read them wholly, otherwise we put them aside. Similarly, some books we read just as our course books, which we read because we have to read them without any other option. Suppose if an essay is prescribed for you, whether you like it or not, whether it is of your interest or not, you have to read it because it is there in your course. Just as you um, gulp the bitter pills which are prescribed by a doctor. If I move further, I would say there are some books that are to be read only in parts because they are useful for a person only in some of the situations or some of the circumstances. It is not worthy to read them word by word. On the contrary, there are some books that are to be read not with curiosity, and some are to be read completely with attention and diligence because they require the full attention of the reader. Moreover, this category of books has treasures hidden in them, treasures of knowledge hidden in them. And that knowledge can be found only by reader's diligence. If the reader is diligent and attentive enough, if the reader is curious enough, then he can find out the things which are of his interest in that book. These are the books which are to be read properly. And then there is another category of books, the common books, like this common distilled water, that is the category of the books which is of meaner sort, and that is why we do not prefer or go in to read them. And now comes Bacon's famous saying, reading maketh a full man, conference a ready man, and writing an exact man. It has been often quoted, and it goes like that it is the reading that adds to the knowledge of the man and makes him complete in a sense of his wit or intelligence. Then undoubtedly it is the conversation with others that makes a man ready for any sort of step to take practically on behalf of his knowledge. And next to this, the skill of comprehension or innovation in writing makes a man full, because writing gives us exactness. it writing does wonder to us, and that is why after reading and conferring, we need to write. That is why we quote this sentence often, because reading skills, conference skills, and writing skills all are useful for us in our life. It is the reading which is important first of all, then next comes conference, and then comes writing. Moreover, the writer describes some facts about studies. He says that if a man writes little, then he needs to have great memory to remember all the things which we have read, or the reader has read. If a man interacts little, little means nothing. We know the difference between little and a little. A little means some amount of things, and little means no. If a man interacts little, he needs to have a present and sharp wit, and if a man reads little, he should be cunning. Cunning is used here in the sense of wiseness, or it is not used in a negative sense, but it is used in the sense of wisdom of a person, or intelligence of a person, to identify exactly what he requires to do from his reading or from his studies. Bacon impresses the reader through his comprehensive and great saying when he says that histories make men wise, poets witty, and mathematics subtle, natural philosophy deep, moral grave, logic and rhetoric able to contend. Bacon is also of the view that any impediment or any stone or any hurdle towards the intelligence or towards the acquisition of knowledge or intelligence or wit, it can be wrought out. Wrought out means extracted by fit studies. If a person considers oneself dull, he can make himself refined through his studies. Just as the physical ailments of the body need regular exercise, and a particular kind of exercise can remove a particular kind of ailment in the body, similarly for the mind also requires exercise, and that mental exercise is possible through the study of different fields. For example, when he says that bowling is good for the stone and reins, shooting for the lungs and the breast, gentle walking for the stomach, riding for the head. Similarly, studies also have a physical role in a person's life. If a man's wit is unable to focus at a point and it keeps wandering, then he should study mathematics, because mathematics will help him to concentrate and decide rationally. If his wit is unable to find differences, let him study the schoolman, because they will call him upon to illustrate the things and find out the differences in the things. If a man is not able to call up one thing to prove and illustrate another, he should study the lawyer's cases, because lawyer's cases will make his argumentative power sound. So every defect of the mind may have a special receipt. Of studies frequently ask one question, and that question is that why Bacon tags as a studies as a discourse, whereas the studies for ability tips and individuals for the better interpretation of trade and commercial pursuit. According to Bacon, the worldly experience can lead men to carry out plans and interpret particular circumstances. So just as he observes brevity or preciseness or condensation in his writings, similarly his advice also, the meaning part of his discourse, is also very practical and gives a practical wisdom to the person. Bacon encourages studies and warns the readers that sometimes too much studying can also be harmful. It can lead to sluggishness or excessive or irrelevant use of knowledge in a conversation indicates that a person is trying to show off, or just as the person makes a show of through the ornaments in his attire, similarly he is trying to make a show of his knowledge in his day to day conversation, and that Bacon advises us to avoid. Next, Bacon illustrates that a person should read crafts and all round a person should Bacon says that if an individual's memory has to compensate for his reading, he should go in for writing. A person should write a lot. Bacon, by pointing out the various subjects, argues that studying history can make man wise, mathematics can make him intellectually sharp, while logic and rhetoric can make a skilled man very good at arguments. He argues that if one studies for delight, it allows an individual to be contented in himself. In short, studies make a man relaxed when he is away from social life. Bacon depicts his practical nature in the essay when he argues that a man should have concerns for both public as well as private conversations. He must not only spend his time in studying as uh, he as he indulges in a lot of irregular or unnecessary conversations. Rather, he should enrich his experiences through the studies by sifting and picking up the relevant and most useful things from his studies. And a well read person encourages uh, himself to bring in together his bookish knowledge with his experiences of the world, because the worldly wisdom always supplements the studies. Bacon links writing with compactness and preciseness, and it is well said that if a person is unable to write about a subject clearly, his thinking is about the subject is also vague. So, finally, I would like to point out towards one or two Latin expressions which have been used in the essay. Simni sectors is one, and that means the person who has given himself to excessive subtlety. And Bacon has said that if a person wants to be a schoolman, then schoolmen, because they are semnisectors or they are given to excessive subtlety, they the person will become wise enough, his wit will become practical enough if he is a semnisector, or if he is given to excessive subtlety. So, to sum up, we can say that Bacon has given us a very, very practical advice through his essay of studies, and expects his readers to discipline their studies through practical and pragmatic wisdom. Thank you.